Right, so the topic of today is addressing how to assess your fat loss, visually at least, okay? Because we all know, yeah, okay, the scales, it can fluctuate, okay, your clothes, again, they can be a good measure, but if you're looking in the mirror and you're saying, I want to visually change my body, and you're not seeing that change, it can be quite disheartening. You know, you can kind of sit there going, I'm doing everything right. I'm eating right. I'm tracking my diet. Yeah, the scales is generally trending in the right direction, but I'm not seeing it reflected in that mirror. You know, there's two things with this. Firstly, you see yourself every day. Okay, so you're not going to see the change as quickly as someone else is going to see the change in you because you just get adjusted to it. You know, you don't notice the little half a kilo here, the kilo here. You know, because you're seeing it visually, week on week, day on day. So you're not really seeing that in a contrasting type of view. So you're not seeing yourself week one and then not seeing yourself for another 4 weeks. And you're not comparing those two things. You're comparing the day before or the hour before or the 10 minutes ago, whenever you last looked at your physique, your appearance, you know? So your comparison is a little bit skewed because you do see yourself every day. So first of all, don't get disheartened by not seeing these huge dramatic visual day-to-day jumps. That is perfectly normal. Okay, the next thing then is fat loss is a bit of a fucking dickhead. All right, so it's not going to go off the areas you want it to go off preferentially. You know, you can't spot reduce fat. You can't just target, say, look, I actually want to keep a bit of fat on my cheeks. I don't like that going, but I want to have shredded abs. You know, like it doesn't work like that. You can't just go, I don't mind about the abs bit thing. That's grand. I just, these love handles, I want them to go. Or, you know, it's the hamstrings, the glutes. That's where I want it to go. The quads, wherever it is. You can't just go, that's where I want fat loss to go, because that's what your eye is drawn to. You're looking at your quote unquote bad area. You don't like that area. That's, oh, I don't like that about myself. That's what I want to change. So you're going to keep all your focus on that. All right, but your body fat or your body doesn't care about where you take this fat from. It's going to take it from the areas that it preferentially wants to take it from, you know? So, and also, if it is slowly going from the areas that you have this larger store in, per se, you're also not going to notice it as quickly. Again, we've addressed this. If you're seeing yourself every day, you're not going to see this go down slowly over time, you know? So if it's a bad area and it's gone down 2 inches, you've lost 2 inches off your waist, it's still a bad area in your eyes. You're like, I'm not seeing this six-pack that I want or these toned legs that I want or whatever it is. So there is that to it as well. So you do have to take into account that fat loss happens systemically. So it's all over the body. It's not just in a boom, this real isolated area on your biceps, that's where I want to tone, or your triceps. It doesn't happen like that. So you're going to lose fat all over the body. Okay, so you've addressed that in your head. You're going, okay, I acknowledge that. It's cool. I know it's not going to go off my stomach just boom like that, or off my thighs, or off wherever it is. I know that's not going to happen. Okay, but I'm still not seeing it. The scales is going down. I'm feeling better. You know, I feel a bit more energetic, etc. Whatever it is, but I'm not really visually seeing where this fat is coming from. Okay, now some people, the way they lose fat, they might just like, your body will just pick an area and it'll just, all the fat will be sucked off that area. You'll just get these really lean arms. Like for guys, generally it's like you'll get these really lean arms, these really lean legs, but you'll still have this stomach fat or this back fat or this kind of side fat, you know, for guys. For girls, it's a little bit different. You could have this shredded upper body, you know, abs popping, and your legs are still fat, or even like the bingo wings, you know, and you're like, oh, my triceps are still fat and my legs are still fat. Yeah, I have a six-pack, it's fucking great, but my legs are still fat, you know. So there are these kind of male-female patterns of fat distribution, and unfortunately it's kind of the areas that, like, men would love to just have their abs shredded, like they don't care about how fat their legs look, you know, they just want to have a six-pack. Whereas women are like, no, I want my legs to look more toned, and they're like, I don't really care too much about having a six-pack per se, you know. So it is one of those things that it's a little bit annoying in terms of your body just goes, yeah, I'm going to take it from wherever I want it, not where you want it. So what I tend to get people to do is look to the smaller areas or the in-between areas. Like, you're going to notice the fat loss there more than in other areas, you know. So it's going to be stuff like your cheeks, okay, or around the eyes, or like the armpit, all these little areas that will slowly just start to offer more definition. So, well, the bulk of the leg or whatever it is isn't losing this dramatic huge amount of fat. You'll start noticing it around the knee or the back of the kneecap or around the hip, or just at the sides, like all these little small in between filler areas of your body. That's where you're going to notice the fat loss more obviously. So that's where you should be looking at when you're kind of looking in the mirror going, I'm not really seeing this fat loss. You should look to these smaller areas. Are your armpits looking more shredded? Are your cheeks looking a little bit more shredded? Are around the hips looking more shredded? Around the knees looking more shredded? The arms, all these smaller areas. That's where you should be putting your focus, putting your vision, because your pecs are not just going to just magically get shredded. Your abs are just not going to magically get shredded. Your legs are not going to get magically shredded. It's all going to slowly come off those areas, as well as even slowly coming off these smaller areas. And because these smaller filler areas have less to lose, you're going to see it more obviously. So that's where you should be looking at. That's just a little quick tip, because I know it can be very discouraging when you're looking in the mirror, you're doing all this work, but it's not really being reflected in the visual side of things. Your clothes feel great, all these other metrics that you should be tracking and what we've talked about before, but you have an idea of what you want to look like, and the mirror is not showing you that as quickly, at least, as you want to see it. So it can be quite discouraging. It doesn't have to be, because the fat loss, if you are slowly still losing weight, it is occurring. So don't get discouraged. Even still, when we're talking about the smaller filler areas, a lot of this fat is also coming off from around your internal organs. So it's making you healthier, even though it's not visually represented. Like, we kind of tend to think of fat as just being subcutaneous, like just below the skin. But a lot of that fat is like intra-abdominal. So it's packed around your organs, So losing that kind of fat is really beneficial for your health. So although you may not be seeing it visually, you are getting healthier as a result. So there is, of course, that to go with the whole thing. But I do realize a lot of people are looking for this transformation because they want to look a certain way. And yes, we can espouse on about the health benefits, and you'll feel this way and your performance will be like this, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, like, we are visual creatures, so having that visual representation of all the work that we are doing is quite beneficial for pushing us forward. So yeah, look to these little small areas, look to the armpits for fat loss. You'll see it there.